Okay, good morning, class. I said I was going to send you one on this, so I'm going to. This is the most recent DQ. So, and I'm going to kind of show you what I expect. So instead of using frequency, I'm going to use countifs. He does walk through that process a little bit, um, but I'm going to show you how I do it, and we'll kind of go from there. So first thing, enter your name, right? Fills up the water quality, change in water quality. So then I need a minimum. Per chloride. Quite a few. Oh, there we go. 102. Awesome. Uh, there we go. And then we need a maximum. These don't turn green. I think I recall that. These don't turn green. So equals a max, open a parenthesis, same data. Now what is the data? Just so cool. Selecting them all does that. I can live with that. B2 through B, 1, 3. Okay. So my bin width, I need to know how many bins I have. You don't get to randomly choose that. That's given to us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. So I need a range, which I have a max and a min, and I need it to be the divided equally. So I'm going to open a parenthesis. Don't forget your parentheses. Maximum minus my minimum. Close my parenthesis divided by 11. There were 11 bins. Just be aware that you don't always use 11. You use however many bins you have. Okay, my lower limit is going to equal whatever my minimum was. It's pretty straightforward. My upper limit, wait, are these all formatted right? Oop, these should all be numbers. Okay, well, that one was numbers. Numbers with, there we go. And then this one's already, oop, let's make all of these numbers just so it's easier with one decimal place. Okay. My upper limit of the first bin is going to be whatever my lower limit is plus my bin width. So my function is going to be whatever this is plus this. And remember, I don't want that one to change. So we go from negative 18.4 up to negative 11.2. I don't want my E7 to change. So I'm going to go ahead and put the $ here. This will keep the row from changing. Doesn't change that the column could change if I dragged it to the right. But since I'm only focused on the row for this problem, I can go ahead and just put one parenthesis or $1. Now this formula is set and can be copied. It's going to read whatever's in this cell and add this distance, this width. So I could copy the whole thing down. Totally fine. And then this one should be whatever the previous upper limit was. So equals whatever this was. Hit enter. And this is a great one I can copy down now. So I'll copy it down. All right. Now my bin widths are set. My bins are set with lower limits and upper limits. What we should always see is that my lowest my lowest lower limit should equal my minimum, and my largest upper limit should equal my maximum. Okay. Title of the bin, we're told to use the title of the bin should reflect the midpoint. So in one of the first exercises when we talked about statistics, I used this idea to find a midpoint between these two. And the midpoint is add these up and divide by 2. So because we want to make sure that we're using the correct formula, we want to do the addition first. So we're going to use parentheses, this cell plus this cell, close it. Then we're going to divide by 2, hit enter. Negative 14.8 is the midpoint between negative 18.4 and negative 11.2. We're going to just drag it down. There we go. These are our midpoints, which will be the title of our bins. Were these formatted as numbers? Okay, so these should be numbers also. And they might be right, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure they are. There we go. They looked right, but now frequencies. This is where we're going to use the COUNTIFs, okay? And we're going to count every one of these cells if they are between these two values. So in this case, the easiest process is to do the COUNTIFs. So we're going to do equals count, and you should see COUNTIFs appear down here. I'm going to double click. And this says the criteria range, which remember the criteria range was this section. So we want to count all of this. And then I'm going to go back up. I'm going to put a comma because that's the end of that. So we're all of that. And I want it to be greater than or equal to, right? So the way we do that, the way we show that is we use a quotation mark. Okay, here we go. The quotation mark, and we want to say greater than or equal to, and then I'm going to close the quotation mark. So that's telling me what I'm doing. This is the criteria. Do this if, and I'm still in the criteria, the first criteria, and I want to now reference cells. So if it is greater than, and then I use the ampersand, which is the and symbol. Okay, and I say D11. So if it's greater than that, I want it counted. Now I can end that criteria, and I'm going to select the other range, which the other range is the same as the first range. So it's everything here. So I select all of this again. And you could type it in. It's, what is it, B2 to 103. I just wasn't sure I'd remember the number. So I have now count all of that range again. And so again, I'm going to need the, not the and symbol. I want the parentheses first. And it's less than my bin upper limit. So in this case, I only need that, close the quotations, and then use the ampersand. And in this case, I'm looking at E11. So E11. And that's all I need for this whole thing. Okay, at this point, this will count everything. And I can close my parenthesis, hit enter, and there are 2 in that value. Now, because when we select the data, it has everything there. We should not need, that should stay the same data. It shouldn't change. These will change. So the cells where we're talking about our limits will change, which is totally fine. So this should be copyable down. And it is, which is great. And if I go check down here, yep, same stuff. Good. Here's the issue. Up here, we told this one we can include, but we don't include this one, which is okay because over here, we're going to include that one. So it's okay. We're not going to include it here. We'll include it down here. This works totally fine, except as we go along, we're not counting this upper limit. We are counting the lower limit. And because each of these upper limits is a new lower limit for the next bin, we're okay, except this last one. This last one we don't count. We only count it if it's lower than this, but greater than or equal to this. And because we don't include this over here, but we know it was our maximum value, we're missing it. So on the very last upper limit, for that frequency, we need to come in here. And just like we did less than or equal to, we're going to do greater than or equal to. So we just click up there. We add the equal sign and we hit enter, and that's it. And you'll notice it went up 1. If we wanted to check, we could sum these. Let me see if I can type in here. Sum. Yep, I can. Great. And I can sum this whole stack, and this should equal, there were 102 wells, so it should equal 102. It does. Success. If it doesn't equal 102, then you messed up. And it's usually right there. It's that you need to equal that last one, not the first one, just the last one. Let me delete that. Okay. So relative frequency. Relative frequency is how much is 2 of the 102. So the way to do that is these should all be percentages to some, whatever it says, 0 decimal places. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to do equal. We're going to go this cell. We're going to divide by, and then we're going to go way down here. And because we have this 102 telling us how many wells, we're just going to use that cell, hit enter, and it should be, oops, and they wanted it no decimal places. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the decimal places. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a $sign because I don't want this one to move. Again, I don't want the row to move up and down because I'm going to drag it down. I'm creating a formula I can copy. Now, because this is formatted as a percentage and it's got the $sign there, I can copy the formula because I want this piece to change. I want to look at this next piece and then look at this piece and then look at this piece. And this way I can do that. And there we go. So now I have relative frequencies. We're going to base stuff on our title of bin and our frequency, and we're going to create a histogram. And the way I'm going to do this, we're going to just select these 2. And then I'm going to go up to Insert. Now, I'm not using a Mac. Some of you are. And you go over to Column. You may also have Recommended. And sometimes I'm going to look just to see, because sometimes, I don't want this type, but this one actually looks good. I'm just going to use that. That looks great. Look at that. Okay. Where did they want it? They want it. Oops, come on, move down. They want it in this little spot. Let's put it here. I'm gonna put it right where they want it. Right to there. Bam. Okay. So this is a great frequency. It doesn't have the labels yet. So again, go to the, is it chart design? Yep. Go to the chart elements. I'm going to add axis titles on the primary horizontal, and then I'm going to add axis titles on the primary vertical. I'm going to come in here and label this. This is frequency. Or I could say, let's say number of wells. Are they wells? Yeah, number of wells. Let's say number of wells. Wells. And then this is, what was this, water quality? Okay. No, it was change in water quality. What's it called? Change in water quality. Okay. Change in water quality. Okay. And then that works. Okay. So now the only other thing, this isn't a histogram, you may be saying, but you said a histogram goes in order and that there's no gap. And you're right, a histogram doesn't have a gap. This is really just a column chart right now. But I can click on one of the columns and you should see them all pop up then. And then if I double click, it should open this window on the side. And if you go to there, you can slide your gap width over. It'll eliminate the gap width. And now we have a nice chart. And this one, we kind of talked about this. That's cool. This is because of my name, it's randomized data. But this is bimodal. Yeah. I mean, look at this. We go up and then we come down and then we go up. It's bimodal. And we were just recently talking about variation, and we can see that this has a fairly large variation, even though it is bimodal. So it'd be interesting to see how this applies to multiple. Do I want to change the label here? For the title, I could, but frequency is okay. I'm going to maybe just add the words distribution table. Be a little bit more accurate with it. And that, we can close that. That is how this is done. So we have a nice frequency distribution that is represented here. And as I said, this is bimodal, and we can see that this happens twice. There are two places where we get to 20. So it totally makes sense. Two peaks, if you will, of data of improvement, one around 6.8 and one around 21.3. That looks fairly good. This is what I'm talking about with the COUNTIFs. This is what I would rather have you guys do, partially because you guys try doing frequencies and then butcher it. Or let me rephrase that. Students at your level in the this introduction sort of class, without it being a real statistics class, really do struggle with using the frequency function in Excel properly, and it usually causes problems. So I wanted to make sure that you guys have this way. This is one of the best ways. In his directions, it walks you through using the COUNTIFs, and he specifically gives you to help you the Microsoft Office version of how to do COUNTIFs, which is very nice. All right, I hope this helps. I hope you're able to be successful with this assignment now and actually use this to be successful with the major assignment. All right, have a good day.